Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. It was a Friday evening, one of those calm nights when you expect to relax after a long, exhausting week. I'd just returned home from work, loosened my tie, and was ready to enjoy a quiet dinner with my wife, Clara. For the past few weeks, though, something had felt different about her. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Her tone, her sudden absences, or the way she looked at her phone with a faint smile before quickly putting away when I walked into the room. Still, I told myself I was overthinking. We'd been married for 8 years. People change, routines change. Maybe she was just stressed. That evening, I walked into the kitchen and saw her dressed up, makeup done, heels on, hair styled. She looked beautiful, but not in her usual casual way. This was a level of effort she usually saved for weddings or fancy dinners. "Wow," I said, trying to sound lighthearted. "You're looking stunning tonight. What's the occasion?" She barely looked up while applying her lipstick in the small hallway mirror. "Oh, nothing special," she replied. "Just going out with some friends from work. You know, a girls' night. Girls' night." It wasn't the first time she'd said that. Over the past month, these so-called girls' nights had become more frequent. And every time, she came home late, sometimes after midnight, sometimes closer to morning, smelling faintly of a cologne that wasn't mine. I'd asked once, jokingly, if her girls had started wearing men's perfume now. She just rolled her eyes and told me I was being paranoid. But that night, something in her tone felt off. Too rehearsed, too distant. She was rushing, fumbling with her earrings, her voice slightly shaky. I leaned against the counter, watching her. "You wanted to wait up for you?" I asked casually, though my stomach twisted. She looked at me through the mirror and said, "Don't wait up tonight." Those words hit me harder than I expected. Something about the finality in her tone. It was soft, almost apologetic, but distant, like she'd already made a decision I didn't know about. I forced a small smile, hiding the storm inside me. "All right," I said, pretending not to care. Then, before she could walk out, I added, "Tell Mark I said hi." She froze. For the first time in weeks, I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. Her reflection in the mirror stiffened. Her hand, halfway through putting on her earring, stopped midair. "W, what are you talking about?" she stammered, turning around slowly. I shrugged, my voice calm but laced with quiet anger. "Nothing. Just tell him I said hi." There was a long silence between us. Her face turned pale, her lips slightly parted, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. Then she tried to laugh it off. "You're being ridiculous, David. You've got such a wild imagination." "Do I?" I asked softly. "Then why do you look like you've seen a ghost?" She didn't answer. She just grabbed her purse, muttered something under her breath, and walked out the door. I heard the sound of her heels fading away on the pavement, followed by the roar of a car engine, hers, heading out into the night. I stood there, the silence in our house suddenly heavy. Mark. I didn't just throw that name out randomly. Mark was her co-worker. I'd met him a few times at company events, tall, confident, always just a little too friendly with her. At first, I didn't think much of it. Clara had always been outgoing, and I trusted her. But recently, every time I called her at work, it was Mark who answered her extension. When she talked about her day, his name slipped in too often. "Mark said this. Mark helped with that. Mark's really funny." And now, she was going out again on a Friday night, wearing the perfume she knew drove me crazy, but not for me. I sat down on the couch, staring at the TV that wasn't even on. My mind kept replaying her expression when I mentioned his name, the panic in her eyes, the crack in her voice. I knew, I just didn't have proof. I picked up my phone and opened her social media. Nothing. Everything looked normal. No new posts, no suspicious likes or tags. But she was smart. If she was hiding something, she wouldn't be careless enough to leave traces online. For a moment, I considered calling her. But what would I say? "Hey, are you cheating on me?" She'd just deny it again. So I decided to wait. Hours passed. I tried watching something on TV, but my mind wasn't in it. I scrolled aimlessly through my phone, checking the clock every few minutes. 9 p.m., then 10:30, then midnight. Still no sign of her. Around 12:45, I heard a car pull into the driveway. My heart pounded as I turned off the TV and sat still, pretending to be asleep. The door opened quietly. She was trying not to wake me. I listened as she tiptoed through the living room, her heels clicking softly against the floor. She went straight to the bathroom, probably to wash off whatever guilt clung to her. When she came to bed, she thought I was asleep. But I could smell it, that faint scent of men's cologne again, one that wasn't mine. I stayed still, eyes closed, feeling 1,000 emotions crash inside me: anger, sadness, disbelief. I wanted to confront her right there. Ask her whose cologne that was, where she'd really been, what "don't wait up" really meant. But something stopped me. Maybe pride. Maybe the fear of hearing the truth. So I waited until morning. When she woke up, she acted like nothing happened. She smiled, stretched, and asked if I wanted coffee. I said nothing. I just looked at her and wondered how someone could lie so easily, so calmly. Later that day, I started digging deeper. I checked our phone bill. Her calls to Mark had tripled over the past few weeks. Some lasted for more than an hour. A few were past midnight. That was my breaking point. That night, when she said she was going out again, I didn't argue. Instead, I followed her. I parked a few blocks away, careful not to be seen. My hands trembled as I watched her car pull into a dimly lit restaurant parking lot. And then I saw him, Mark. He was already there, leaning casually against his car, dressed neatly, smiling in a way that made my stomach turn. She got out, walked up to him, and they hugged, not a friendly hug, but one that lasted too long. I sat there in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. 8 years. 8 years of love, of trust, of building a life together. And this was how she repaid it. When they went inside, I followed quietly and sat a few tables away. They didn't see me. Watching them laugh, lean close, and hold hands across the table felt like someone was stabbing me repeatedly. At that moment, something inside me broke. I wanted to storm over there, shout, make a scene, but instead, I stayed silent. I wanted her to think she'd gotten away with it, at least for one more night. Because when I confronted her, I wanted her to have nowhere to hide. After they left, I followed them from a distance. They drove to a hotel. My heart sank completely when I saw her get out of the car and walk in beside him. That image burned into my mind forever. I didn't need more proof. I had seen enough. I didn't confront her that night. I drove home, numb, tears blurring my vision. The house felt colder than ever. I sat alone in the dark, surrounded by memories that suddenly felt fake. Our wedding pictures, her laughter, our late-night talks. All of it now poisoned by betrayal. When she finally came home in the early hours, I was waiting at the kitchen table, pretending to be asleep again. She kissed my forehead lightly, thinking I was unaware. That simple act of fake affection hurt more than anything else. I knew that the next morning would be different. I knew what I had to do, because the moment I told her, "Tell Mark I said hi," was the moment she realized her lies were no longer hidden. And the next time she tried to walk out that door, I would be the one to stop pretending. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there in the dark, staring at nothing, the quiet hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, Clara, laughing with him, holding his hand, walking beside him into that hotel. The woman I once believed I'd grow old with was now a stranger. By sunrise, my heart had turned to stone. The pain was still there, but it was no longer sharp. It had become cold and steady, like the calm before a storm. I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I wanted the truth, spoken from her own mouth. When she woke up, she walked into the kitchen wearing my shirt, her hair still slightly damp from a quick shower. She smiled like nothing was wrong. "Good morning," she said softly. "You're up early." "Couldn't sleep," I replied, not looking up from my coffee. She hesitated for a second, studying my face. "Is everything okay?" I took a slow sip, then set the cup down. You tell me, Clara, is everything okay? She frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I looked her straight in the eye. It means I know where you were last night, and who you were with. Her expression froze. For a brief moment, her confidence slipped away, replaced by sheer panic. Then, like flipping a switch, she forced a small laugh. David, seriously? You're still on this? I told you. I went out with my coworkers. You need to stop imagining things. I leaned back in my chair, my voice calm but firm. I was at the restaurant. Clara, I saw you with Mark, and I saw you go into the hotel with him. The sound of her breath catching filled the room. Her eyes darted away, searching for some excuse, some way out. But there was none. I continued, my tone quiet, almost emotionless. I didn't need to follow you, but I did. I didn't want to believe it. I kept telling myself there had to be some explanation. But when I saw you holding his hand, smiling like that, it all made sense. She sat down slowly, her legs trembling. Her face had gone pale. David, Don't lie. I interrupted softly. Not anymore. You owe me at least the truth. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then she whispered, her voice barely audible. It just happened. I didn't plan for it. I felt a bitter laugh escape me. You didn't plan for it? You've been seeing him for weeks, maybe months. Don't insult my intelligence, Clara. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't feel pity, only emptiness. He was there for me, she said. We just connected. You've been distant lately, always working, always tired. I felt invisible. I shook my head slowly. So instead of talking to me, you chose to lie? To cheat? That's your excuse. She buried her face in her hands. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said quietly. You didn't just hurt me. You destroyed everything we built. Our marriage, our trust, our home. All for what? Some temporary thrill with a man from your office. She sobbed, shaking her head. I don't love him, David. It was a mistake. Please, we can fix this. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. No, Clara, you can't fix something that you shattered on purpose. For a moment, she looked up at me, her face streaked with tears. You can't just throw away 8 years like that. I stared at her, my heart heavy. You threw them away the moment you decided that my love was enough. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. David, please. I was stupid. I regret it. I swear I'll end it with him. Just give me another chance. I looked at her one last time and said the words that had been sitting on my tongue all night. You already ended it, Clara. You just didn't realize it yet. Then I walked out. I stayed with my brother for a few days after that. I didn't tell anyone the full story. I couldn't bring myself to. The shame of it all was crushing. People always think the hardest part of betrayal is the act itself, but it's not. It's the silence that follows, the empty space where love used to be, the memories that now feel like lies. Clara texted me every day. Apologies, promises, long paragraphs about how she couldn't live without me. I didn't reply. A week later, she showed up at my brother's door. Her eyes were swollen, her voice trembling. Please, David, I can't lose you. I made a mistake. I was confused, and I let him manipulate me. I stood there, calm, almost attached. No one forced you to betray me. Clara, you made that choice. You walked into that hotel on your own. She started crying harder. I'll quit my job. I'll block him. Please, just give me a chance to make it right. I sighed. Clara, it's not about punishing you. It's about trust. And I don't have any left. She fell to her knees, clutching my hand, begging through tears. You're my husband. I love you. I'll do anything. And maybe part of me still loved her too. That's the cruelest part about betrayal. You can hate what they did, but still remember the person you thought they were. But I couldn't go back. Every time I looked at her, I saw that night, that hotel, that lie. So I did what I had to do. I filed for divorce. When she received the papers, she came to see me one last time. Her eyes were red, her voice cracked. So that's it? After everything, You're just going to walk away? Yes, I said quietly. Because the man you cheated with, he didn't just steal you. He showed me who you really are. She wiped her tears, bitterness flashing in her eyes. You think you're perfect? You were never here for me, David. You made me feel like I didn't matter. I nodded slowly. Maybe I wasn't perfect, but I was loyal. I was here. I fought for us, even when you didn't notice. Her shoulders slumped and she whispered, I'm sorry. I know, I said, opening the door, but sorry doesn't rebuild what's already burned. She walked out quietly, and that was the last time I saw her. The weeks that followed were strange. The house felt haunted, not by ghosts, but by memories. Every corner reminded me of her laugh, her touch, her presence. But as days turned into weeks, the pain slowly dulled, replaced by a strange kind of peace. I started focusing on myself again. I joined a gym, took long walks, even went on a few solo trips. It felt odd at first, but freeing. One evening, while sorting through old photos, I found a picture of us from our honeymoon. We were both smiling, carefree, believing that love alone was enough to last forever. I stared at that photo for a long time before finally putting it away for good. I realized something then. Betrayal doesn't define you unless you let it. It breaks you, yes, but it also teaches you how to rebuild. Months later, I heard through a mutual friend that Mark had moved on, leaving Clara heartbroken and alone. I didn't feel satisfaction or revenge, just sadness. Because despite everything, I once loved her deeply. But love without respect is just a memory. And the night she said, "Don't wait up tonight," was the moment I stopped waiting. Not just for her return, but for the version of us that no longer existed. Now, when I look back, I don't feel anger anymore, just acceptance. Some endings are painful, but they clear the path for peace. And sometimes, losing someone who lied to you is the best kind of freedom.